My dear friends in Jesus Christ, once a small boy from his room he was asking his mother, "Mummy, a glass of water, please." Then the mother said, "I am working in the kitchen, so please come and take the water." Then again this fellow shouted, "Mummy, a glass of water, please." Then she said, "Don't be so lazy. Come and take. I am working. I am so busy here." Again the third time he said, "Mummy, a glass of water, please." Then mummy said, "If I am coming there, you are going to get so many beatings, my son," she said. Then he said, "Mummy, as you are coming to beat me, please bring me the glass of water, please," he said. See, such a lazy person. In today's first reading, St. Paul is asking each one of us, do not be a lazy person. We have to be a man of working hard. So he says, "We gave you this command, if anyone will not work, let him not eat," he says, my dear friends. See, we have these 7 capital sins. What are those 7 capital sins? According to the Catholic Church, the 7 capital sins. The first one is pride. The second one is envy. The third one is gluttony. And the fourth one is greed. And the fifth one is lust. And the sixth one is sloth, which means laziness. And the seventh one is wrath, which means anger. So the laziness is one of the capital sins, my dear friends. Oftentimes we take it for granted. But God has created us with a purpose. But oftentimes we waste our time just being so lazy. That is why he says, "We command you, if anyone will not work, let him not eat," my dear friends. And in today's first reading we see St. Paul is giving us 3 elements. The first one is identify the lazy people. And the second one is do not be one with them. And the third one is warn them, correct them, he says. So today we have to learn from St. Paul that we have to identify who are lazy, maybe ourselves or maybe our family members, and we should not be one with them. And the third one is we have to correct them, we have to guide them and warn them, my dear friends. A lazy person would say, if I win the award for the laziness, I will ask somebody to go and pick it for me, that award. So the lazy fellow, even he will not go and get the award, my dear friends. Once a young man, so I will be giving some examples. A young man went to the priest and said, "Father, I am full of temptations. I am full of distractions. I cannot concentrate on anything else. So what shall I do? Please help me." He asked the advice from the priest. Then the priest said, "Come tomorrow at 9 o'clock and you spend the whole day with me. Then afterwards we will talk about it." This fellow came at 10 o'clock. Okay, he came at 10 o'clock and the priest showed him some work. He said, "See, can you see those bricks which are on the right side of the church? So please move them to the left side of the church." He did that work. After finishing that work, the priest said, "Now can you see the sand there, which is on the left side of the church? Now move that to the right side of the church." He also did that one. By that time, the lunch time. So then he called him to eat lunch. After the lunch, again he asked him, "Now you have moved from the right side to the left side, no? Those bricks. Now move them from the left side to the right side again. And also the sand from the left side to the right side, to the normal places," he said. So he did that one, and the time was around evening 5 o'clock. Then the priest came and he asked him, "Tell me now, how many temptations you had today? How many distractions you had today?" Then he said, "What are you talking, Father? Where is the time to get the temptations? Where is the time to get the distractions? I was working the whole morning, no? There is no time for me to get the temptations." Which means, my dear friends, here there is a secret. When you are busy with your work, then there will not be many temptations. అందుకే తెలుగులో అంటారు, ఒంటరిగా ఉన్నప్పుడు మనసును అదుపులో పెట్టుకోవాలి, నలుగురిలో ఉన్నప్పుడు నాలుకను అదుపులో పెట్టుకోవాలి. We get the temptations when you are alone. When you are only lonely, then you get the temptation. So be careful when you are alone. Control your mind. And be careful when you are with the people. There, control your tongue, they say. సో ఒంటరిగా ఉన్నప్పుడు మనసును అదుపులో పెట్టుకోవడం నేర్చుకోవాలి, నలుగురిలో ఉన్నప్పుడు నాలుకను అదుపులో పెట్టుకోవడం నేర్చుకోవాలి. సో ఫ్రమ్ టుడేస్ ఫస్ట్ రీడింగ్ వీ హ్యావ్ టు అండర్స్టాండ్, when you are busy, when you have a purpose, then you will not have any distractions and temptations in your life, my dear friends. Suppose imagine yourself, you are traveling by the car and you are like the passenger. So when you are like the passenger, then you have the choice to do many things. You are the passenger, so as the passenger you can talk on the phone, you can send the messages to the other people, you can see outside, you can sleep, you can eat, you can drink. But now imagine yourself, you are not the passenger, but you are sitting in the driving seat, you are the driver. Then do you have all these possibilities? Sleeping, eating, drinking, talking on the phone, sending the messages. You don't have all this. Your concentration is on the destination. There won't be any distractions. If you are sitting on the driving seat and if you are having these kind of distractions, what will happen? What will happen? Most probably an accident will take place. That will be the end of your life. So do not be the passenger of your life. Be the driver of your life. Avoid the distractions, avoid the accidents, and concentrate yourself on the destination of your life. So as a person, as a Christian, you should have an aim, the goal and purpose of your life. So ask yourselves, what is my aim? What is my goal? What is my purpose for what God has created me in this world? We need to ask every day ourselves, my dear friends. Now coming to the today's gospel reading. First reading is speaking about the hard work, and the gospel reading is speaking about the hypocrisy. Hard work and the hypocrisy. See, this is the topic which many priests, they don't want to talk. Even I am also finding difficult, because yesterday, day before yesterday, continuously this topic is coming. So let us learn something. Actually, the context of the Jewish people, where the Jesus was correcting them about their hypocrisy. Yesterday we were talking about the similarities and the differences between the Pharisees and the Sadducees. So the context of this gospel is, Jesus is now in the city of Jerusalem. Jesus is in the temple of Jerusalem. Why did he go? When we understand, he went to attend the feast of the Passover to the temple of Jerusalem. Among the Israelite people, the Jewish people, they have three important festivals, my dear friends. We also have so many festivals. They also have so many festivals, but three important main festivals they have. What are they? The feast of the Passover, the feast of the Pentecost, and the feast of the Tabernacle. What is the feast of the Passover? The Passover feast is nothing but that where they are commemorating the incident that they came out of Egypt under the leadership of Moses. So they are remembering that one, and they are celebrating this feast of the Passover. Now Jesus is in the temple of Jerusalem. He went to the city of Jerusalem to celebrate this festival, the festival of the Passover. The second festival is the festival of the Pentecost, which is known as the feast of the weeks. What is the Pentecost? You know, I think. Penta plus cost, that means 49 days, 50 days. On the 50th day. Pentecost means 50th day. So the feast of Pentecost for the people of Israel is like our Pongal feast. It is the thanksgiving for the first fruits of the harvest. And later they started to celebrate as the remembrance of the law that was given by God to the Moses at the Mount Sinai. So the feast of the Pentecost is this one. And the feast of the tabernacle, as they were in the desert, they were having the tents, no? They were living in the tents. So to remember, to commemorate that one, they have to celebrate the feast of the tabernacles. This you find in the Bible, Leviticus chapter 23, verse 42, and Numbers chapter 29, and Deuteronomy chapter 16, verses 13 to 17. I will read for you Deuteronomy chapter 16, verses 13 to 17 to understand about these festivals. You shall keep the festival of booths, which is known as the feast of the tabernacle, for 7 days, when you have gathered in the produce from your threshing floor and your wine press. Rejoice during your festival, you and your sons and your daughters, your maid and female slaves, as well as the Levites, the strangers, the orphans and the widows resident in your towns. So we have the background from the Bible about these festivals. They have three main festivals: the feast of the Passover, then the feast of the Pentecost, and the feast of the tabernacle, my dear friends. So Jesus came to Jerusalem, and Jesus wept over Jerusalem. Jesus cleansed the temple, and now he started to teach to the Pharisees and the scribes and to the people, my dear friends. So today's gospel gives us the 7th and the 8th accusations Jesus made against the Pharisees. 7th one and the 8th one. How many beatitudes we have? 8. Also, in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 23, famous 8 woes against Pharisees and Sadducees. These are known as 8 woes. So today we are hearing about the 7th one and the 8th one. So what are these 8? The first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, 7th and 8th. In the Gospel of St. Matthew, chapter 23, you will find the first one, 23, 13, 14, 15, 16, 23, 25, 27, 29 verses. So you can read 8 woes against the Pharisees and Sadducees in the Gospel of St. Matthew, chapter 23, verses 13, 14, 15, 16, and 23, 25, 27, 29. So 8 woes you can read. The first one is speaking about they taught about God, but they did not love God. They did not enter the kingdom of heaven, and they don't allow others also to enter the kingdom of heaven. So that was the first accusation Jesus made against the Pharisees. You don't enter the kingdom of heaven, and you don't allow also others to enter the kingdom of heaven. In Telugulo మనకి ఒక మంచి మాట ఉంది. అమ్మ పెట్టదు, అడుక్కొని తిననివ్వదు. వాళ్ళు ఎవరు అంతే. వాళ్ళు వినరు, విననివ్వరు. వాళ్ళు వెళ్ళరు, వాళ్ళు వెళ్ళనివ్వరు. So you are called as a hypocrite when you are blocking others. When you don't come to the church, and when you are blocking other people also to come to the church. You don't live the gospel values, and you don't allow others also to live the gospel values. When you are living a life of scandal, when you are living a life of block to the other people's faith, you are called a hypocrite according to this first one. The second one is they devoured the widows' houses. So they have taken forcefully the houses of the widows. That was the second accusation. The third one is they preached God, but converted people to the dead religion. Somebody said, what is the religion? Religion is to do right. It is to love. It is to serve. It is to think. It is to be humble. But where these people are teaching them the false religion, there is no love, there is no service, there is no humility, everything is pride. They were proud about themselves. So, using the religion, they wanted to control everybody. Using the religion, they wanted to control everything. And the saddest part is, using the religion, they wanted even to control God. They gave more importance to the religion They are not giving more importance to the God. So if you are a person who is giving more importance to the rituals, the traditions, only thinking about the religion, nothing about loving the God and serving God, and nothing about the humility is not found in your life, then you are called a hypocrite, my dear friends. And the fourth accusation is, if you sworn by the temple or the altar, it is not binding. But if you sworn by the gold ornamentation of the temple or by the sacrificial gift on the altar, then you were binding. So the question is here, which is more sacred, the temple or the gold? Which is more sacred, the altar or the sacrificial gift over the altar? So they say that when you take an oath on the church or on the temple, it is not binding. When you take the oath on the altar, it is not binding. But when you take the oath on the gold ornamentation of the temple, it is binding. When you take the oath on the sacrificial gift of the altar, it is binding. Which is sacred? The temple is sacred more than the gold. Which is sacred? The altar is more sacred than the sacrificial gift that is offered on the altar. So they are giving false teachings. So if you are a person like giving false teachings, then you are called a hypocrite. Today we have so many false teachers, It's not for dharma. False teachers means today we have the social media. So we go and see so many messages in the WhatsApp. So WhatsApp sometimes gives us a false teaching. The Facebook gives us sometimes a false teaching. So you have to be careful who are good teachers, who are false teachers. So if you are a false teacher by yourself, you are called a hypocrite, my dear friends. And the fifth one is, they taught about the law but did not practice the important parts of the law, which is justice, mercy, and faithfulness to God. So when you are teaching, be a man, be a woman who also practice the important parts of the law. The sixth accusation of Jesus against the Pharisees and Sadducees is, they taught to clean the cup outside, but they did not teach them to clean the cup inside. So you have to be clean and holy inside first, then you be clean outside. The seventh one, today's gospel which is speaking is, today Jesus compared the Pharisees and Sadducees to the tombs on the sides of the road leading to Jerusalem. As I told you, now the festival is happening in Jerusalem. Whenever there is a festival, what we do? We will be painting the houses, cleaning our houses. Also on November 2nd, before the November 2nd, what we do? What do we do? So we go and clean our tombs also, family tombs also. So as the festival is happening there, what these Pharisees and Sadducees, what they are doing is, they went and they are cleaning the tombs. They are whitewashing the tombs. They have a reason, because for the festival everybody have to come. As I told you, they have only one temple and several synagogues. And for these three important festivals, all the Jewish people must come to Jerusalem. Before, they can go to the synagogues every week. But these three festivals, all the Jewish men, it is an obligation for them. Everybody should travel to Jerusalem and attend the sacrificial services which happens in the Jerusalem. So why they are cleaning and putting the white paint? Because the pilgrims are coming. As they are coming, they should not become ritually defiled. For example, without knowing, if they are walking on the tomb, they become ritually defiled. So in order to avoid that one, now they are giving the white painting so that everybody knows, okay, this is the tomb. I should not walk over it, so that I will not be defiled. So that is the reason, that is why they are painting the tombs. So he is saying that you are whitewashed tombs. Outside very nice, but inside is full of dirt, is full of dry bones, the death bones, he says. And eighth criticism is, Jesus also criticized their false zeal in decorating the old monuments and in building the new monuments for the old prophets. Actually, who killed them? Who persecuted them is their own forefathers. They killed them, they persecuted, and now you are building the good and beautiful decorating monuments, my dear friends. That is why St. John Chrysostom said, "You have been counted worthy to become temples of God, but instead you have been more like sepulchres. It is extreme wretchedness that one in whom Christ dwells and in whom the Holy Spirit has worked such great works should turn out to be a sepulchre, a whitewashed tomb." So the messages for today is, as the first reading is saying that you need to work hard. The gospel reading is saying that we need to be men and women of integrity and character without any element of hypocrisy in our lives. The second one is, we should not make a show of holiness outside when you are not actually holy inside, my dear friends. Once, a worried mother had taken her little daughter to Mahatma Gandhi because she was addicted to the sweetmeats. So she went and complained to the Mahatma Gandhi, "My girl is addicted to the sweetmeats, please suggest her." Then he heard that one and he was silent for some time, and he said, "Please bring your daughter after 3 weeks so that I can talk to her." And after 3 weeks, mother and the daughter returned, and now Mahatma Gandhi had taken her aside, and he was saying that, "See, if you are taking so many sweets, you will get this sickness," and so on. So he gave her good suggestion, and he asked her not to eat anymore the sweets. And the mother was happy with the suggestion, and before just leaving, the mother was asking, "Bapuji, last time when we came, why you did not give this same suggestion? Why you have asked us to come after the 3 weeks?" Then he said, "The reason is very simple, because before 3 weeks, I was also addicted to the sweets. And in these 3 weeks, I was practicing not eating the sweets. That is why now I am able to give suggestion to your little daughter." So good example is better than long words, my dear friends. So try to give good example to the other people. Do not be a scandal to the other people's faith. Do not be a block to the other people's faith. So today's message is hard work and do not be hypocrites. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Follow me, leave your home and family, leave your fishing nets and boats upon the shore. Leave the seed that you have sown, leave the crop that you have grown, leave the people you have known and follow me. The foxes have their holes and the swallows have their nests, but the Son of Man has no place to lay down. I do not offer comfort, I do not offer wealth, but in me will all happiness be found. Follow me, leave your home and family, leave your fishing nets and boats upon the shore. Leave the seed that you have sown, leave the crop that you have grown, leave the people you have known and follow me.